everyone! Today I'm bringing you a few feel-good revenge stories that I found. Amongst them are some creepy and outright illegal and vile behavior, so I believe it still keeps in line with the theme of this channel. The last one is the worst, so make sure you stick around till the end. Some of them might make you wonder what you would do in the same situation, so please share some of your thoughts with us in the comments. For those of you who are new to this channel, I share everything creepy from Japan, so if you like how that sounds, please make sure to subscribe. Alright, let's get started. When I was in middle school, I was bullied by a student. Let's call him Hitose, who was an honor student. He was smart and cunning for a middle schooler. He acted like a nice kid in front of the teacher and was good at hiding evidence. So, whenever I tried to complain to the teacher, I was always ignored because there was no way Hitose would do such a thing. He did things like tear my textbooks, stole important high school application forms that I'd already filled out, made me lick toilet bowls, etc. Needless to say, I graduated middle school with a lot of trauma. Once in high school, I focused on my studies to get top grades. It paid off and I entered a good university. I majored in education because I wanted to become a teacher. During my final year, we had practical assessments and were placed in different local middle schools around the city. When I went to the school on the first day of placement, I was surprised to see Hitose there. Great, I thought. He was the last person I ever wanted to see. We were all gathered into a room for orientation when I overheard him talking quietly to someone. Apparently, he had passed the employment exam, and as soon as he passed this practical assessment, he was guaranteed a job at a local middle school. He sounded extremely excited about starting his new job next year, as if he was already guaranteed that position. I felt disgusted to the core and wanted to pay him back for everything he put me through, so I made it my mission to look for an opportunity. One day, towards the end of practical training, when I was hanging out with a student at school, he told me that Hitose was privately texting with a female student. The kid told me that he caught wind of this rumor and talked to the girl directly, to which she replied that she liked Hitose and asked him for his number. Instead of saying no like any responsible adult would, he readily gave her his contact details. I sought the female student out and she gave me further details. Apparently, Hitose had started to try to coax her into more indecent adult conversations. She was definitely starting to feel uncomfortable, so when I asked to see those texts, she did so without hesitation. I quickly took pictures of them as evidence. A while later, we were done with our practical assessments, graduation was coming upon us, and the university put together a party for us. It was there that I actually heard Hitose talking about how he's really into middle school girls. He was literally admitting to his disgusting and vile tendencies. I quickly snuck up behind and recorded their conversation. I felt like I had all the evidence I needed. Our professor happened to have a close relationship with one of the members of the local board of education. I sent her an email outlining Hitose's problematic behavior and worrying tendencies along with the evidence I had. It didn't take long for her to call me to thank me for notifying her and potentially preventing some serious catastrophic events in the future. She also told me she would be informing the school disciplinary board and the local board of education. When I went back to the middle school to gather up the last bit of paperwork, I heard that Hitose's credits had all been cancelled. Apparently, he was spotted walking around town with a very young, very underage girl. He was also put under investigation with the Board of Education, and the school rescinded their offer of employment after everything came to light. Hitose never received his teaching license. I have never felt so good in my life, and I plan to go thank the professor soon. Maybe I'll even bring her some flowers. The person who bullied me relentlessly during my high school years, so much so that I refused to go to school for a while, ended up working at the same company that I was. We were fresh out of university and it was our first year out in the real world. She was trying to act nonchalant, telling me that it was such a long time ago, blah, blah, blah. I didn't care. I don't know if you've ever been bullied, but it never leaves you. You never forget the sense of dread you wake up with every morning, with waves of anxiety washing over you once you're at school. I, in particular, will never forget the humiliation I felt when she wiped my face with a rag used to clean the toilet. She spread rumors and all sorts of lies about me. These are things that you can't just dismiss because, as she said, it happened such a long time ago. For 3 years, I pretended like everything was fine and that I was over it, until I learned that she was about to get married. It was then that I began to slowly tell all my co-workers about the nightmare she put me through. I guess she wasn't a very nice person in general, so no matter how much she tried to play it down, everyone believed me more than her. After that, she stopped being invited to work parties and get-togethers. People only talked to her out of necessity for certain jobs to get done. Because she was newlywed and probably spent a lot of money on her wedding, she probably couldn't risk quitting and being out of a job, what with a high competition for individuals to find work with little experience. So, she had to stay within the company and take the cold shoulders and disapproving stares from everyone else on a daily basis. It was a small company and my manager really liked me. She took really good care of me, and when news reached her ears, she made it clear how disappointed she was in the overall character of my bully from high school. Destroying her career path was quite an unexpected turn of events, but it's one that I'm highly satisfied with. Karma always comes around. This happened when I was in 2nd grade. Our teacher was known for being really strict and none of us were happy to find out that he would be our teacher for the year. From pretty much the first day of school, he targeted 2 students. One was myself and another girl. Let's call her M. M became his favorite student while I became his punching bag. In other words, M was an angel and I was the devil. M was forgiven for everything she did wrong, regardless of what it was, while I was yelled at in front of everyone over the same mistakes. He thoroughly enjoyed belittling me and embarrassing me in front of everyone. I knew as much because he always had a grin on his face afterwards. Here are a few things he did to me. 1. He tore my textbooks. 2. He tore my notebooks. 3. He wiped my face with a dirty rag. 4. As punishment, he lifted my skirt up and showed my underwear in front of the entire class. 5. There were usually 3 to 4 different dishes served for lunch, but if he was in a bad mood for some reason, he wouldn't serve me one of them. 6. Usually, students rotate doing different cleaning jobs before we go home, but he designated me to clean the blackboard every single day for the entire year. In addition, if I was too slow, he would wipe my face with a dirty rag. 7. Only students who had to take supplementary classes had to go to school during summer break. I wasn't one of them, but he made me go to school just to clean the blackboard. 8. I had long hair at that time and he got mad at me every single day, ordering me to cut it. At the end of the first semester, I really did cut my hair, and when I went to school, told him I cut it because he told me to. He responded saying he never said such a thing, and his dirty tactics began to increase from that day. And by the way, M's hair was longer than mine, but she didn't need to cut her hair because according to him, her hair felt really nice. He was proudly saying these things out loud in class. Now, let me tell you some of the things he put M through. 1. He called everyone by their last names. That's how it is in Japan. But he would call M by her first name and add chan at the end. Adding chun at the end of girls' names is an endearing way to call a girl. 2. During tests, he would sit right behind M, hug her, and give her guidance. He would put his face close to her ear and whisper things like how cute she was. 3. One day, she forgot her recorder at home and the teacher wasted no time saying she could borrow his, but he licked it all over before handing it to her. M had no choice but to take it and use it. She was crying and I saw her throwing up during lunch break. 4. Even though she had good grades, the teacher wanted to continue seeing her during summer break, so he told her she needed to take supplementary lessons. As I mentioned before, I was forced to come clean the blackboard, but he didn't want to see my face, so he told me to be gone before he came back. If I happened to still be there, he yelled at me. 5. For PE, he was always extremely hands-on with M. He would touch her and grab her everywhere and give her private lessons, basically ignoring everyone else. 6. During class, he would always pull up a chair next to her or even squeeze himself onto her chair to sit together. He would just stare at her and sometimes give her extra advice. I heard this sometime after, but whenever he sat close to her, he would always ask her what color her underwear was. 7. The vice principal would walk down the hallways checking each classroom, but when he wasn't at school, the teacher knew. He was always so happy about it and would kiss M on the cheek multiple times throughout the day. He tried to kiss her lips a few times, but M would run away and he would get all mopey and complain about it. M eventually stopped going outside to play because she wanted to steer clear of the teacher as much as possible. There's so much more that happened, but I don't have time to write them all down. The reason why no other teacher or parent found out about it until the latter half of the school year was because the teacher made sure to let us know what he would do to us if any of us talked. He would then beat me up in front of everyone. Towards the end of the second semester, we were told to bring a straw for a giant soap bubble experiment the next day. One student asked what we should do if we didn't have any straws at home, to which the teacher replied that it was okay because the school will have some extras. He added that it was unnecessary to go out and buy them. When I got home from school that day, my mum and I went to the supermarket. There, she bought me a new pencil case, some pencils, a ruler, and an eraser. I was so happy when my mum looked down at me and said, "If you don't take care of these this time, I'm never going to buy you anything again." You probably have an idea why she said that to me. It was because I often came home with torn notebooks, textbooks, stationery, and even ripped clothes, all because of my teacher. I tried to tell her a few times that he was the one who did it, but she never believed me, so in her eyes, I was a careless child who took things for granted. We didn't have any straws at home, and I asked her if we could buy some, but she told me to just use the ones from school if that's what the teacher said. I had a really bad feeling about it, but I wasn't in a position to change her mind, and we went home without buying any. The next day at school, the teacher asked those who didn't have any straws to raise their hands. Several people, including myself, raised our hands. He saw me straight away and marched over. He said, "Why didn't you bring a straw?" Before I could finish saying that I didn't have any at home, he cut me off and yelled, "There's no fucking excuse!" My brand new pencil case that my mum bought me the day before, containing my new sharpened pencils, the ruler, and the eraser, was sitting on my desk. It happened to be just the right size for him to take out his anger on. He grabbed it and slammed it down hard against my desk, and it broke straight away as he did so. I screamed for him to stop and tried to take it back, but he picked it up again and this time threw it down on the floor with tremendous force. He apparently threw my eraser out the window, but I didn't notice it at the time because I was crying. My friend went to look for it after the fact. He yelled at me to clean up the mess, which I did through tears. My ruler was chipped, my pencils were broken, and my pencil case was in several pieces. I don't know how I spent the rest of the day. I was in shock and was probably completely out of it. When my mum got home from the PTA meeting at school, she asked to see the pencil case so she can inspect it. I wanted to keep it hidden forever, but I had zero excuse, so I pulled it out. She went off. I tried to tell her the teacher did it, but once again, she didn't believe me and the situation was rapidly getting out of control. That's when the doorbell rang. When my mum went to the door, it was my friend. She had found the eraser that the teacher threw out of the window and had come to give it back. My mum was in shock. After this, my friend told my mum everything that had been happening from the beginning, and my mum, well, she was beyond pissed. She hurried back to school. She was hysterical and caused a huge scene, yelling at my teacher. That night, she told me that if my teacher ever did anything to me again, to run to the teacher's office and tell any adult, it didn't matter who. The next morning, my teacher announced,
"So, someone here's a snitch, a snake."
He walked over to me and kicked my desk and chair over, making me fall. That was when the vice principal and my mum walked into the classroom. The police were called and the teacher was arrested on the spot. The teacher that came to take over was a kind teacher who had recently come back from maternity leave. After school that day, I was called to the principal's office. As I munched on cookies, he asked me to tell him everything, and I did. I gave him every tiny detail, including what M was put through. I didn't fail to tell him that our teacher would pick his nose during class and eat his boogers, and that he would hug M during swimming lessons too. I was finally allowed to step down from blackboard cleaning duties, and my pencil box and everything that was broken were paid back in full. Did I mention that my mom was the president of the PTA? This huge incident was the main topic for quite some time, and the teacher in question was sent to teach at a special needs school. Before he was let go, he came at me a few times, but he never got physical again. At one point, he asked me why I didn't tell him that my mum was the PTA's president, but I just told him that he was stupid for not knowing, considering everyone else knew. Sometime later, I heard that his new position didn't go well, and he eventually quit. Now, if this happened to my child, I wouldn't be satisfied with the teacher just being sent off to a different school. However, according to my mum, it was a huge ordeal just to make that happen. Also, if something like that happened today, it would be all over the news. I've been wanting to share this story for a while, so thanks for giving me the platform to do so. It feels really good. Oh my goodness. What did you guys think of this? She's totally right. If something like this happened in this day and age, the teacher would have been jailed straight away, put on the sex offenders list, and have his teaching rights revoked. I can't imagine a teacher blatantly abusing their students like that. It also made me wonder who had it worse. I think I would have preferred to be the one getting bullied instead of being in M's shoes. It almost made me gag to hear she had to use his recorder after he licked it all over. Anyway, I would love to hear your thoughts, so make sure you leave a comment. I hope you guys have a great day. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you next time.